Hey, hey. If you guys jump in, please let me know whether you can hear me or not. Um, right now, I am using, you could probably see it up there in the corner, I believe. I'm using Be Live um, just so I could do this from my computer and not my phone. But because of that, I cannot see who comments or who posts. So I will need you to let me know who you are if you ask a question. If you jumped in, just let me know. Oh, okay. You know what I'm going to do, Beth? Thanks for letting me know you're here. I'm going to watch myself. This is kind of weird. I'm going to watch myself do this on my phone. So that way I can also see who comments and who's in or who asks questions. Because when I do it on Be Live, which is up there in the corner, I can't see. But let me know if you can hear me, Beth. Can you hear me good? Or if you ask a question, if you okay. Okay, perfect. Thanks for letting me know, Beth. It's a bit of a delay, so just bear with me for a second. I won't waste too much time waiting for a lot of people to join, just because I always feel like, look, you can come back and watch the replay. So it doesn't really matter to me whether I'm talking to myself or whether I'm talking to a large audience, because usually people are busy, you're giving services and things like that. And you can just watch it at your convenience. It's not one of those things where it's like, oh, if you don't watch this right now, then I'm going to delete it and you'll never see it again. Oh, nobody got time for that. All right. So the reason why I wanted to do a live video today is because I wanted to talk about why it feels like franchises and other large corporate businesses can just open up a lot of times at a moment's notice, or what feels like a moment's notice, and then all of a sudden they just explode on the scene. And why a lot of people in private practice or even in smaller scale businesses can't quite seem to do the same. Um, the first thing I want to point out, because Tina commented on the question yesterday, and she said it's because they have systems in place that's been tested and they tweak them until they narrow it down to the things that work, and then they go from there. And that's just one part of it. So yes, Tina is correct. With any franchise or a lot of businesses, that is true, right? That's true. It doesn't matter if it's spa and massage. It doesn't matter if it's food. It doesn't matter if it's a hotel. Whatever the case is, yes, they have a system of operations in place that can be replicated. But here's what people don't see, because the system of operations is just that, right? It's just a system that doesn't necessarily guarantee success at all, right? Because you can have a system in place and not have employees. You can have a system in place and have high employee turnover. You can have a system in place and never get a client in the door. You can have a system in place and it still fail. A lot of people don't know that a lot of franchises actually fail. You just, a lot of times you never see it. A lot of franchise owners don't do well in this space because when they buy into the franchise, they come into it thinking, oh, this is just a well-oiled wheel, and who wouldn't like a massage, right? Who's not going to pay a bunch of money to just come in and get massages? And that's a very naive way of thinking about things when you come into this space, into this industry. So they actually have a lot of odds against them because they don't have, most of them don't have the industry experience, the hands-on, the know-how. They've never really interacted with someone who works in this space. So they really don't know how to manage a massage therapist. They don't really know how to manage a personal service industry. A lot of them still have regular jobs. When they buy into the franchise, what tends to happen is they either have cashed in their 401k, maybe they sold the house, something like that. So they have a significant amount of money and they're looking to invest in some type of business. And sometimes, like when they're searching around for franchises, they might go to a franchise broker and they might just try to get an understanding of, okay, what type of business do you want to run here? Like, what do you want to retire on? And they say, oh, well, I want something low stress and low this and low that. And so a lot of times they get guided over to the massage realm, the spa realm, because they feel like it's going to be low stress, it's going to be easy. Again, who wouldn't want a massage, right? Who wouldn't get massage every day if they could? But again, that's a naive way of thinking. But they end up going down this road. Many, like I said, they already have the odds against them because they've never worked in this space. They've never really interacted or engaged with anyone who does work in this space. The third thing is most of them have no business acumen whatsoever. So it's interesting that that's the interesting piece of this, right? Most of the people who come into this franchise space within the spa and massage industry or any industry, like I said, a lot of times in any industry, they don't have business acumen either. They're not business savvy. But aside, the one good thing they have going for them, actually two, but the one good thing they have going for them, and what makes it a little bit easier, is that they've now purchased a system of operations that can be replicated as long as they follow that system, right? They have to follow that system. The problem is a lot of them don't follow the system and then they fail because they want to do it how they want to do it instead of trusting what they bought to work for them. And but the second thing that they have is that they also have support. That's something that a lot of people who begin as massage therapists or estheticians or anybody that previously worked in this space, they're not willing to invest in is that support. That support is so important. It cannot be neglected. The thing is that I believe the reason that a lot of us who have worked in this industry previously don't go out and seek support or don't welcome that support is because we go into it with a naive way of thinking. Oh, I've worked in this space. I've done massage. I know how I would treat employees. I know how much they should get paid. I know how to get clients in the door. And then we suffer because we don't give that support the credit and the weight that it deserves. That's so important. So a lot of times it feels like franchises are just number one popping up on the scene. Trust me, they're not. Before a franchise even opens doors, it's usually, man, it's probably like a year and a half of an investment from them, having to get all of the money in place, picking a location, all of this stuff is a long time before they just pop up on the scene, right? So that's number one. The second thing is, what allows them to have a better chance is that even if whether they have a business acumen or training or experience or not, they have to go through a training, not just a training on how the franchise system works, but they usually get that basic business training that a lot of independent owners, a lot of people who decide they want to do this on their own and think they know everything that's involved with running a practice, that's what they skip on. So that's one of the big reasons why I host the course, The Details That Matter, because it's that business training, that business information, that understanding your numbers, understanding basic revenue and expenses and profit margins and how to actually measure those numbers and monitor those numbers. All of that stuff is what they're learning before they even open doors the first day. And a lot of them need it. Trust me. I've sat at that table way too many times to know not to know this to be true. So they're going through that and they're respecting the fact that, look, I don't really know much about owning a business. You're giving me the system here, but I also need to understand what does it mean to own a business, right? Because they are getting into this, looking at their future, looking at something that they can retire on. And it's okay to look at it that way. Just because they bought into a franchise or a business from a business standpoint, that's nothing wrong with that. I think in this industry, especially when we work in this industry, a lot of times we feel like, oh, well, if they're looking at it like a business, then all they care about is money and they don't care about serving the client. That's not true. I can care about serving the client, but want to serve more than just what my hands can touch. But in order for that to be something that actually works, I have to treat this like a business. I have to say, okay, I can only do so much. Let me now put other people in place to be able to extend my care for the health of my community, the benefits of massage. I have to be able to expand beyond myself if my goals really are that big. But again, even if it's not, even if it's to say, you know what, I want a business so I can retire on this business, that's okay. But you also have to understand, what does it actually take for me to retire on this business, right? Like what is involved? What type of investment is involved? Am I just trying to get up and open up this place, make $1 million tomorrow, and then I got my million, now I'm done? No, you got to be in this for the long run. If you are actually looking to have a legitimate business, this needs to be something that you are in for the long run. This is also why a lot of small practice, private practices do not survive and thrive, because you're not going into it looking at it from a long term point of view. Like, are you in this for the long run? Or are you just saying, you know what, no, I just want to kind of work for myself and have my own clients? And that's fine. But you have to also respect which side of the fence you're on. Are you just looking to have a private practice that you can close any day you want to and just pick it up and say, you know what, I'm done with this, let me just close up shop and go? Or are you actually trying to be a staple in your community that people say, you know what, since Beth is on and she's commenting, I'm gonna pick on Beth. You know what? Beth is like the best massage therapist in Fort Worth. If you want to go to somebody, you know she's gonna be there. She's gonna show up. She's the real deal. She's legit. Yes, she's solo. Yes, she's private. Yes, she's a little hole in the wall space, a mom and pop place, however you want to describe it, but she's there. She's solid. Gone are the days where businesses even last for 40 years. You know what I mean? You don't have to be a franchise. You don't have to be a major corporate chain for people to look at you as a business and respect that side of you. But are you treating your business that way? Right? That's a scary thing for a lot of clients, to invest in you or trust you or spend thousands of dollars on your service and buy all of these gift certificates or buy these long-term packages when there's fear that you're not even going to be there tomorrow, right? That you're not even going to be there tomorrow because you are not treating your business like a business. You have to make that distinction in order to grow and scale and actually get clients that respect what you're doing and want to support you for that. But that doesn't happen overnight, right? You can't just wake up tomorrow and be like, look, I'm a massage therapist. I've been doing this. I know how to run this business. Now you're supposed to come support me because I'm the best. It don't work like that. This is a long-term strategy here, right? That's what your business should be. So like I said, the training is a big piece of it that a lot of people miss. Planning is the next thing. Like I told you, these franchises ain't just popping up tomorrow because somebody bought it 2 weeks ago. It takes planning. And majority of the franchises in this space, or in a lot of different spaces, but specifically in this space, because I know they're required to get a 12 to 24 month marketing strategy plan done before they open their doors. That is a requirement. That is a requirement. They are required to spend X amount of dollars each year on marketing. Is that something that you're even really willing to commit to, right? You're telling me that you want to open up a space that has 10 employees and 12 rooms, but when I tell you, okay, to effectively actually make this work, commit to $20,000 of marketing spend a year. And you look at me and you balk at that and you say, I'm not spending that. Okay, but you have to market your business. That's just how it works. Like, you can't just expect to open up doors and that people are just going to see you and they're just going to walk in. You can't expect that your family is going to support your business and carry it through to the long term. You can't expect that the people that work for you are going to commit themselves to marketing your business to drive customers to your business. You have to take on some level of financial commitment for your business. Nothing works for free. Like it doesn't work like that. You might look into some viral video aspect or something like that, but you have to be willing to commit financially to your investment. Your business is an investment. You have to be willing to commit the time, be in this for the long run. You have to be willing to commit the money. Hey, Ellie, I see you over there saying hi. You have to be able to commit the time, commit the money. And a lot of that comes from marketing. You have to be willing to advertise your business. Is it going to always work? No. I was when I when I managed this one location, this owner that I worked for, it was interesting because he did something that I told him was the stupidest thing he could do. He decided to commit some of his marketing funds to, what did he do? He wanted to, because he was in a small community. He knows a lot of people in the community he was in. He wanted to advertise on movie screens. I was like, dude, seriously? Nobody's looking at a movie screen and saying, yeah, now I'm going to go get a massage. Like, that's probably, you could have spent that $5,000 a whole lot of different places that would have been more effective than putting it in front of a movie screen with viewers that maybe get a little snip. Now, if y'all pool your money together in a regional aspect, then you want to go these mega guerrilla marketing tactics like that, then hey, by all means. But just for your single practice, that's not effective. That you could spend your money in better places, right? So back to my point, you have to plan it. How are you going to market yourself for the next 12 months, for the next 2 years? That's not to say you can't change it along the way, but at least come in with a plan. Like a lot of you guys, you just rent a room and you say, you know what? Okay, now I'm just going to post a couple things on Facebook. I might run a couple Facebook ads that don't actually work. And then I'm just going to make up some flyers. I'm going to do some business cards. I'm going to do some events. Okay, but what's the plan there? Like, did you actually go into this with a plan, or did you just kind of wing it along the way? So create a plan, a marketing plan. If that's not your space, if that's not your wheelhouse, there are companies that you can hire that will do a marketing strategy for you, a 12-month strategy. Usually it's about $2,000, $2,500. And that, again, that's probably a number that you're like, ugh, I'm not about to pay somebody just to do a marketing strategy. But okay, how much money are you losing? First off, how much money are you missing out on because you're not actually actively marketing? That's number one. Number two, how much money are you wasting by winging it, right? At least when you go in with a plan, it's been well thought out. It's been researched to see if your target market is actually there. They're looking at events and planning way in advance to say, okay, here's an event you should go to. Here's an event you should go to. You should skip this one because your client's not there, but go to this one because it's going to have 50,000 people that show up every year and they're actually local, right? That's what a good marketing strategy does for you 12 months out. So that way you're not winging it when those holidays come around. That way you're not just guessing and throwing your business cards up in the air, hoping somebody grabs one and then calls you back, right? It's called walking into it with a plan. That's why franchises tend to do a little better, because they come into it with a marketing plan. But marketing plans, believe it or not, are not created for them when they open their business. They have to do that. They have to do the marketing. They have to get those clients to come in the door, right? That's not created for them. The system of how they operate, the logo, the name is there for them. But that doesn't mean that the marketing strategy was created for them. They have to actually actively do the work. So really, when it all comes down to nuts and bolts, you kind of instinctively know what needs to be done to run a practice, right? You know you need a booking software. You know you need to do some email marketing. You know you need a table. You know you need sheets. That seems really common sense. But I've met and worked with some owners who are like, why do I need doors? How come I just can't put a sheet up? Wait, what? You have 10 rooms in here and you talking about separating them with sheets? No, where's the privacy? The clients talk. Where's the quiet? Like, I don't want to hear a client talking. You spend the money and put up some drywall, put up some cement wall in between, get some noise cancelers, something. If you're going to come into this space, come into it the right way, but be willing to invest what you need to make sure it's legit, period. Don't guess at this, right? And then the next part. So we talked about the training, those business owners who have no business acumen, which is a lot of us in this space, because we learn how to do the service, but we don't know how to run a business. And that's okay. That's not a sign of failure. That's a sign of leadership. You're recognizing where you might lack, and you're actually taking steps to do something about it, right? You're actually learning the numbers. You're learning the business side of this industry. Then you're planning. You're coming out with a marketing strategy, so that way you're not winging it and guessing. Then you're going to measure, right? You're going to measure. You're actually going to say, okay, what worked, what didn't? What are we going to continue to do? What are we just going to say, you know what, this ain't working? Either we're going to scratch it completely, or we're going to shelf it and we're going to come back and implement it at a different time, right? Because maybe we weren't ready for this. But how can you improve something that you aren't even measuring? right? I ask a lot of you guys a lot of times in the group, what marketing things have you done? What's worked? And a lot of times you're guessing at it. Like a lot of times people will say, oh, well, most of my clients come from word of mouth. But really? How do you know that? Are you actually measuring it? And then after you measure it, are you actually setting a benchmark, something that you can affect and change? Right? So if you're telling me that a lot of your clients come in through word of mouth, what active steps are you doing to increase that then? If you're saying that's what works, what are you doing actively to help get more referrals coming in the door, right? Are you sending out an email? Are you setting up your social media where it encourages referrals or whatever the case is? You actively do something, but then you know you can't just rely on that one thing. So then you need to do something else, but you have to measure it. You have to see what's working and see what's not. Are you even measuring things like a new client acquisition? Are you measuring things like customer spend? Are you measuring things like efficiency? Are you measuring things like occupancy rate? Oh, how do you even know how to measure those things? Again, that's where the education and training comes in the beginning. But when you start looking at these numbers and seriously start looking at these numbers, meaning, you know what, I'm going to take an active step at this and say, okay, what numbers do I need to look at? When these numbers start slipping, what does that mean? Does it mean it's trending that way? Or does it mean that I need to actually do something now to get it to move back in a forward position or in a positive position, right? That's you can't improve something that's not measured. You can guess and you can say, well, I think it's this that's not working. Or you can actually measure it, look at your numbers and do something to create some change. That's what franchises are doing. That's where the support aspect comes in, right?